The room buzzed with the low hum of fluorescent lights, their harsh glow reflecting off the linoleum floor. Through the barred windows, the sky was a bruised purple, heavy with the promise of rain. At the center of it all was Joe, a burly man whose face seemed carved out of granite, weathered and worn by years of hard living. His eyes, though, those were as sharp and clear as the mountain spring he swore by. He was a mountain of a man, perpetually dressed in flannel shirts and worn jeans, his hands always calloused, almost as if the grime was part of his skin. To many, Joe was a fixture at the diner, a regular whose presence was as comforting as the aroma of fresh coffee. But that was just a part of the story, for Joe had secrets buried deep as the roots of the ancient oaks that cloaked the hills around Blackwood. Secrets that whispered of winters spent alone in the hollows, of battles fought in far-off lands, and of things best left undisturbed, untouched by the light of day. Many tried to pry these tales from Joe, to peel back the layers of his stoic silence. But Joe was a fortress, his past a locked chest, its contents known only to him. But tonight, something was different. Tonight, Joe was sharing, or rather, he was teaching. In the corner booth sat Sarah, her face a steady in concentration as she followed Joe's every move. Her youthful enthusiasm was a stark contrast to Joe's jaded demeanor, a vibrant flame flickering in the dim light of the diner. Every flick of his wrist, every turn of his gnarled fingers was observed by Sarah, her eyes wide with wonder and determination. She was determined to learn, to master the art of survival, her thirst for knowledge as unquenchable as the vast wilderness that surrounded their town. Tonight's lesson was about survival, about preparing for the unexpected, for the moments when life held up its jagged edges and refused to be gentle. It was about learning to live off the land, to make use of every resource, no matter how humble it might seem. Joe was teaching Sarah the art of wild crafting, the practice of foraging for wild food and herbs. They were in the heart of Blackwood's sprawling woods, the trees a canopy overhead, filtering the sunlight into emerald shards. They bent over ferns, carefully examining tiny plants that most people would walk right by. Joe pointed out edible mushrooms, explained the medicinal uses of various herbs, and showed Sarah how to find water even in the driest of seasons. Sarah listened intently, her questions thoughtful, her hands brushing against the rough bark of trees as if memorizing their textures. It was a silent understanding, a bond formed over shared respect for the unforgiving yet bountiful land they inhabited. When the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the forest floor, they returned home, their baskets laden with their finds. Joe showed Sarah how to clean and prepare their wild harvest, each step infused with the quiet wisdom of one who had learned from the earth itself. Over the crackling fire, as the aroma of their supper filled the air, Joe spoke. It wasn't much, just a simple stew, but in that moment it tasted like ambrosia. A person needs to know how to survive, he said, his voice a low rumble. No matter where life takes them, they need to be ready. Sarah nodded, understanding dawning on her young face. It wasn't just about the food, she realized, or the medicines. It was about the strength, the resilience, the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you can survive anything. Life is a relentless river, always flowing, always changing, but there is a certain peace in knowing that you have the skills to navigate its twists and turns, to thrive even in the harshest of environments. Learning these skills wasn't just about survival for Sarah, it was also about connection, a connection to the land, to her ancestors, and to Joe, a man who seemed to embody the spirit of the woods themselves. In his weathered face, she saw the wisdom of generations past. In his calloused hands, she felt the strength of her own heritage. And as she learned to identify wild edibles and craft natural remedies, she also learned to appreciate the intricate balance of the natural world. She understood the delicate interplay of predator and prey, the cycles of growth and decay, and the quiet beauty that thrived in the midst of struggle. These lessons weren't confined to the wilderness, they echoed in the quiet spaces of her everyday life. They taught her patience, perseverance, and above all, respect. Respect for the land, for her ancestors, and for the man who had become her unlikely mentor. As the evening deepened, the sky filled with stars, and Sarah felt a sense of contentment settle over her. It was a feeling born out of hard work, a profound connection to nature, and a newfound understanding of herself. This night in the woods with Joe wasn't just a lesson in survival. It was a testament to the enduring human spirit, a reminder that even in the harshest environments life finds a way to not just survive but to thrive.